Do you believe that Jesus is coming again? Are you living like he is coming again? In our Sunday school lesson this week, we're going to see the importance of why the child of God must be living like Jesus will be coming the very next second. Hello there. Thanks for joining me for another Sunday school lesson here on the Newfound Faith channel. I am Pastor McCrary. And again, I say thanks. If you aren't already following the Newfound Faith channel, go ahead. Make sure that you follow the channel today. Set the alert notification so that you don't miss all of the wonderful content that we have on this channel. You don't want to miss a Sunday school lesson like this one. I just did another episode of Bible questions and Bible answers where I answered the question of why the Lord permits us to have struggle, trials and tribulations. You don't want to miss content like that. You don't want to miss my sermons as well. So go ahead, make sure that you follow the channel right now. In our Sunday school lesson this week, we're going to be taking a look at the coming of Christ. Now, when we talk about the coming of Christ, I feel that I have to explain that there are two parts to Christ coming again. The first part will occur before the period known as the Great Tribulation. In that coming, Christ, he will return to the earth for the purpose of the church. He is going to call the church out of this world. And the church, I want you to understand, that is made up of all of those who sincerely believe, all those who truly walk by faith, the true worshipers of the Lord that live in spirit and in truth today. We are going to be called out of this world, both the living and dead, and we're going to meet Jesus in the air, to where we are going to go and we are going to dwell with him for everlasting life. The second part of Jesus' coming is known as the second coming of Christ, where Christ is not only going to return to this world, he's going to set foot on this world, and he's going to establish what is known as the millennial kingdom. Christ is going to reign on this world for a millennium. Do you believe in that? Again, that is the foundation of our faith as well, that Christ, he is coming again, and you and I as believers, we should be living like we believe it. So Peter, in our Sunday school lesson this week, there again in the third chapter, we'll see where our lesson, it opens up today with Peter talking about the scoffer. Just like Jude, he said that there would be scoffers who will come in the last days, and they will walk according to their own lust. Not only will they walk according to their own ways, Peter, he said that they will mock the notion of Christ's return. They will say, where is the promise of his coming? For since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as they were. So this is, again, very similar to what we saw what we saw him say in his letter last week when he was speaking about the mockers. Well, what is a scoffer? A scoffer is one who mocks. A scoffer is one who derides. I have been walking by faith for a very long time now, and I have heard it said before. I've been asked the question, why do you believe? Why do you believe in Christ? Why do you believe he is coming again? It's been 2,000 years. And again, we should understand today that the mocker or the scoffer, they do this with the hopes of trying to persuade you to believe in what they believe in. They look at the idea of believing in the invisible God or believing that Christ is coming again. They look at it as complete and utter nonsense. They look at it as foolishness, but it ought not be foolish to us who again are of sincere faith. We know what God has done for us, and again, we have chosen to believe. And so because we have chosen to have faith, we must be prepared. We must be prepared to be mocked because of our faith. We must be prepared to be mocked because we believe that Jesus is coming again. Being mocked, being hated, being despised, being persecuted because of our faith is something that Jesus, that he taught as well. He taught us that we are going to be despised, that we are going to be mocked, that we're going to be persecuted because he himself, he was mocked. He was despised and he was persecuted. And we, his servants, we are not greater than him. We are not greater than our master. We are not above being mocked. Now, this can be hard for many of us to do because nobody likes to be laughed at. Nobody likes to be mocked. Nobody likes to be despised. Nobody likes to be hated. When we are laughed at, when we are mocked for something that that we do or something that we have done, we'll try to change to fit in. It reminds me again of being a child when we were in school and somebody made fun of us for the way that we talked or for the way that we dressed or for something that we did. We would try to change so that we aren't made fun of. But here in this case, should we, the believers, should we change to fit in? Should we change to fit into a society that mocks Christ, that mocks the Lord? Again, we're talking about everlasting life here. We are talking about the kingdom of God. Should we change to fit in? We shouldn't change to fit in. We shouldn't change at all. Our faith, as Paul said, we should not conform to this world. Peter here in our Sunday school lesson, he speaks to those who willfully choose not to believe. Peter, he says there that one who believes such things willfully, they choose to believe that the Lord isn't in control and that all things happen according to his will. Peter said that they will meet their fate for such a foolish decision. Though it has been a long time to wait, Peter, he pointed to the idea that 1,000 years is as a day in God's eyes. God, Peter said, isn't slack. He isn't slow concerning his promise. We may think that God is moving slowly, but God, he's moving at his pace. He's moving according to his timing. And something that you and I today, something that we truly must believe, is that God, he is faithful to keep his promise. God, he does not go back on his promises. God, he does not break his promises. So the scoffer, they may mock that it has been 2,000 years. And for us, yes, that is a long time. But if 1,000 years is a day in the Lord's eyes, if 1,000,000 years is a day in the Lord's eyes, if 1,000,000,000 years is a day in God's eyes, again, understand and believe it. God, he is faithful. Understand it and believe it. He said that he is coming again and he is going to come again. Trusting God's timing. Do you believe in it? I do believe in it. So Peter, he spoke to not being caught off guard there in the 10th verse. Peter, he wrote that the day of the Lord, that it is coming, that it will come as a thief in the night. This teaching, it follows what he taught the disciples as well. Over in the 24th chapter of Matthew's gospel in the 36th verse, Jesus, he taught the disciples that no one knows, not even the angels, when the Son of Man will come again. The only one who knows is the Father. If one knew his house was about to be broken into, Jesus taught that one would be on watch for the thief to prevent a robbery from happening. So we, the believer, we should be watching, Jesus said. We should be waiting for when he will come again, because as Jesus said, he is going to come at a time that we don't expect. This reminds me of an old song that used to be sung. What will you be doing when Jesus comes? We should be on guard. The sinner will be caught off guard, but we know better, right? We are of sincere faith. So again, we should not be caught off guard because again, Jesus, he is coming. Peter, he wrote there that one must be looking forward to these things. We must live to be diligently found by Christ, living in peace and without spot. So in other words, you and I, we should be living in obedience. We should be living in complete obedience. We should not be living with the mindset of, hey, it's been 2,000 years. Maybe Christ is delaying. Maybe he won't come during my lifetime. I understand it's very easy for some of us to have that mindset. But if we have that mindset, that is a mindset of a scoffer. That is a mindset of a doubter. And again, you are of sincere faith. You cannot live with doubt. You cannot live with this notion and this idea that God is slack, that he is putting off his coming again. Because again, as Peter said, the Lord, he is not slack. We ought not be doubting that Christ is coming again. Because again, as Peter, as he says there in the 10th verse there, the heavens will one day pass away with a great noise. And the elements, Peter said, they will melt with fervent heat. And I want to be clear about this, that Peter there, he's talking about the end. And I want to be clear here as well that he's not theorizing what the end will be. Peter, he knows what the end will be because Jesus, he taught what the end would be like. When he spoke about the end of the age, Jesus, he taught the disciples that the sun would darken, that the moon would not give its light. It would not have any light to be able to reflect. Jesus said that the stars, they would fall from heaven and the power of heaven would be shaken. Jesus, he said that in that day, they will see the Son of Man, and they will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds, and he will send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet. So Peter, he wasn't making anything up that we have seen him saying here in this lesson today. And it's something that Peter, he took it very seriously. He took the second coming of Christ. He took it very seriously. Again, people like Paul took it very seriously as well when he talked about how we will be transformed in the twinkling of an eye. The apostles, they did not take it lightly that Jesus was coming again. We live in a world today where it seems like we are living in the midst of people who take God lightly. They don't believe that God even exists. Nonetheless, that his only begotten Son is coming again. You and I who are of sincere faith, we cannot live in that manner, because it's not simply just Peter saying these things. It's Christ himself that has spoken about his coming again. And again, we are of faith, right? And if Christ, if he has told us that he is coming again, you and I, we should be living that he is coming again. And that no man knows the day nor the hour, not even the angels of heaven, when he is coming again. Only the Father knows. Which again, it speaks to the fact that he can come at any moment. He can come at any second. He can come while you're watching this Sunday school lesson. So what will you be doing when Jesus comes? Again, I hope that you are watching. I hope that you're waiting. I hope that you're on guard. I hope that you are living in obedience, because we who again are of sincere faith, we don't want to be caught off guard. Again, this is something that we should take seriously, because again, Christ, we're getting very close to Easter Sunday, Resurrection Sunday. He gave his life so that we can meet him in the air, so that we can be a part of the millennial kingdom, so that we can dwell with him for everlasting life. That's something that we should take seriously. And I hope that you will take it seriously after watching this week's Sunday school lesson. Okay? All right, so that is our Sunday school lesson this week. Again, it's a short lesson, but again, it speaks about something that is very, very important. I've discussed this on several occasions. Again, you can find the content here on the Newfound Faith channel. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. And again, if you aren't already following the Newfound Faith channel, I ask all of you, go ahead, make sure that you follow the channel today. We have some wonderful Sunday school lessons that's going to be coming up where we're going to be diving into the book of the Revelation of Christ. So I would certainly hope that you would join me for those Sunday school lessons. That's a letter that many of us, we run away from, but it's definitely something that we must dive into, especially because we are living in the last hour now. So again, I thank you for joining me for this week's Sunday school lesson. I hope that you'll come back for our Sunday school lesson next week.